This video here is a review of the Beats by Dr. Dre headphones from an audiophile's perspective. I own the JH13 Pro custom in-ear monitors, and as you know, those are pretty much the best sound you can get from an earphone or a headphone of any sort of whatever. Well, I had to send those in today because they need to be repaired because there's a crack in the acoustic arm. The acoustic arm is the area of the custom shell that goes into your ear canal, and with that crack it basically scratches the inner ear canal walls, and it's very painful to insert them. So yeah, that needs to be repaired. Now let's get to the review. I had bought these from eBay for $220, and I wanted to, like, review them or whatever, because it was actually a decent price. So anyways, I've heard these in the Best Buy and these sounded absolutely god awful, and then I've heard that people are saying that they sound bad at the Best Buy kiosk, and then for some reason when you plug them directly into your iPod or any other source for that matter, except those amplifiers used at Best Buy, they actually sound pretty good. So I just went and bought them. I let these burn in for approximately 4 days, and I listened to them for about an hour just a while ago, and I'm gonna pretty much give my review on them. I listened to pretty much every song that I'm mostly familiar with. So now, as you can see, just to get that out of the way, you see my iPod Touch has a case that pretty much matches the color scheme of the Beats by Dr. Dre headphones. I like my iPod matching my headphones. I'm not sure if you guys like that, but I just like how I like everything to match. I also have a case a case that matches my custom earphones as well. So now let's get to like the technical aspects of this review, which is basically about the sound. Now, the sound, if I can quickly describe it, is balanced and surprisingly clear. The bass response from these headphones are not the bass that I heard from the Best Buy, surprisingly. The bass is actually, somewhat flat. There's no noticeable, mid-bass frequency emphasis. Mid-bass is, the punch in the bass, the boom, boom, boom. I do not like when headphones have mid-bass emphasis, because actually just the ignorant consumer likes mid-bass emphasis. And with mid-bass emphasis, the reason why these manufacturers are doing that, so they can hide the flaws of the headphone, because usually a headphone that has a huge mid-bass emphasis can't reproduce the other frequencies that well. So that frequency, which is the mid-bass that gets emphasized, covers up the flaws, so you guys don't really hear how bad everything else sounds, because you're so concentrated on that huge bass response. So these do not have a mid-bass emphasis. They actually have a nice flat, clear bass. The bass is it's detailed, nowhere near as detailed as the JH13 Pro, but they're still somewhat detailed. They extend pretty low. Surprisingly, they keep their volume intensity as they're descending from 100 hertz to 20 hertz. I don't notice any noticeable bass roll-off. Bass roll-off is when the lower the bass note gets, the less volume intensity. As I said, the bass response for these are actually surprisingly flat. The texture in the bass is pretty good. The bass speed, the speed in which the bass hits and the decay and all of that, it's all right. It's passable for a $200 headphone. It's passable. Obviously, the JH13 Pro has unrivaled bass speed. Like the way those earphones reproduce bass is unbelievable. So let's not drift off here. Let's get back to these now. The vocals, this could have been one of my top recommendations for headphones in the $300 range. I would actually recommend it for $300 if the vocals weren't so harsh. Come on, Monster. The vocals for these headphones, I mean, they're clear, they're somewhat detailed, but they're very unrealistically harsh. It's like sibilance is what these vocals are very. The vocal performance from these headphones have a lot of sibilance in them. Sibilance is when it's like, you know, when the artist pronounce a word that starts with an S, the S has a lot of emphasis in it. Like there's a lot of that. Every time I hear it, you know, it gets really annoying. It's very harsh. It hurts your ears. It takes away from the realistic feeling of you listening to music in real life if you close your eyes. When you're constantly hearing a lot of sibilance, is really annoying. And I've looked at the frequency response of these headphones, and I see why. It's the frequency response of these headphones is like a roller coaster. You really want a flat. I mean, I looked in the bass area. It's flat like I thought it would be, and when you get to the lower mid range, it kind of drops down. And the upper mid range of these are kind of, you know, they're going up. So that's the reason why I'm getting a sibilant response, because the treble, the lower treble and the upper mid range is kind of emphasized, and that's where sibilance lies. So the vocals, though, they're somewhat clear and detailed, but sibilance ruins them. I mean, not all songs are sibilant. Not all of them. Some of them are sibilant. But the JH13 Pro, the same songs that are sibilant on this are not as sibilant with the JH13 Pro. They're a lot more organic in their sense of tone. So now let's get to the treble response, which the treble is actually it's existent. This headphone produces very good treble. It's somewhat a bit over the edge and starting to get in the area of being harsh. It's like slightly, ever so slightly over the edge. It's still listenable. It's good treble. It's detailed. It doesn't extend that well, at least compared to my JH13 Pros. This treble doesn't extend, you know, in the upper, say, 14 kilohertz, 15 kilohertz region. That treble area basically gives the sense of air, you know, the decay to certain like instruments. It adds to the soundstage effect, all that stuff. That's the area that treble, you know, helps. So now let's get to the soundstage. Now these headphones have decent soundstaging. My JH13 Pro has much better soundstaging. These sound somewhat closed in, as in the sound cannot, you know, escape. It's like you feel a sense of a barrier surrounding you. But this is coming from someone who owns a JH13 Pro. If you haven't heard those, you know, marvelous earphones, you probably might not sense this barrier. But the barrier is like the sound doesn't escape freely into an open vast of space that you get with the JH13 Pro. Like the JH13 Pro, it seems as if the music can continually just progress on into some open area. It's amazing. These sound somewhat closed in, and the instrument separation is when, you know, if it can distinctly and accurately place a sound in the correct field of what you're listening to. Say if someone was playing the drums and he's at the back left area, if you can actually close your eyes and picture him playing in the back left area, then, I mean, if you can, you know, accurately, like, say you never heard the song before and you can sense this guy's playing from the back left area, then the headphones have, you know, good instrument separation. These really don't have it. It sounds like most of the sounds come from one ear is like muddled on top of each other. Like some songs have good separation while the others don't. It's like these headphones have their mind of their own. It's like certain songs they want to sound good and certain songs they want to sound like crap. The JH13 Pro doesn't do that. Every song sounds out of this world, amazing. So the soundstage just is constrained. It's a bit closed in. But other than that, these are very good sounding headphones, and the noise cancellation on these are alright. They add to the, like, you know, trying to block you out from the outside world. They're not great. I can still hear a lot of ambient noise from the trains, the subways, the buses, and people around me. I can still hear them. But if you crank the music up, not all the way to the max, but, you know, like around, you crank it up to around, you know, this level, pretty much drowns out a lot of ambient noise. You can actually hear the music. So yeah, I will recommend these if you're paying under $250. $300 or $350 is actually a ripoff. So these are actually pretty good headphones. So guys, go pick up a pair if you like. I like the way they look and I like the way they sound. So yeah, later guys, thanks for watching.